Welcome to Two Woke Bonnets, a podcast where we revisit the classic TV shows of our Gen X childhoods and see how well they hold up today. With your hosts, Carol and Joey.
Hello and welcome to the Prairie. My name's Carol.
And I'm Joey.
And we are Two Woke Bonnets. We are going through Little House on the Prairie, the 1974 television show, watching each and every episode and commenting on it, seeing if it holds up for 2025, or maybe it was woke to begin with. So today's episode is Haunted House.
Dun dun dun.
Dun, dun, dun. I'll get to we'll talk about the house later on once we're done with the episode. But yeah, we both just watched this episode, so we should be very knowledgeable. But yeah, it begins with a house. Laura is
That's haunted.
It's haunted, apparently. Well, we actually begin inside the house because don't we start with Amos Pike coming to town?
No, it starts with him coming into town.
Yeah, to buy stuff
and
from the
Harriet being scared and saying mean
Harriet
things about him. So I'm on bingo card number 7, and I'm marked Harriet
15.
Commits a crime. Because
I don't think I had Harriet Commits a Crime. I know the second it showed John Anderson as a guest star. He immediately checked guest star on Gunsmoke because John Anderson was in everything. Like everything.
12 episodes of Gunsmoke, 3 episodes of Bonanza. So
yeah.
You can check both on your card.
Yeah, I didn't have Harriet Commits a Crime, but she does here because she's like really.
And Laura really overhears it.
Yeah, she like calls him. She calls him disgusting, which I don't get because I mean it's not like he's dirty or anything. He's just a grouchy old man.
Well, and he doesn't speak at all.
No,
he comes in. The only thing that he does is say exactly what he wants, and then when Nels adds it up. He had exact change. So, Nels tries to be kind to him and say something, and he looks up and he's gone. Yeah.
So, he doesn't get along with townsfolk, or he doesn't like townsfolk or whatever. But I was like, come on, Harriet, disgusting. It's not like he's Jimmy Johnson out there with his dirty bare feet or anything like that.
Right. Now, he did order a special package. And that was part of what he was picking up.
Yeah.
And then we see him go back to the house and he's got a box and he pulls out a little music box.
Music thing with a little lady in a blue dress inside that twirls around while music plays. And he's envisioning his wife. I assumed from the get-go she was dead. So no spoilers, but she's dead. But he envisions her in the mirror while the music plays. He envisions her dancing. And he has a nice portrait of her hanging in the room. And he speaks to that.
Beautiful portrait. Really pretty. Yeah.
And her name is Lily.
Yes. And so he just tells, and he talks to her.
Yeah.
And she twirls around in a circle.
Crazy person of Walnut Grove.
Do we, though? Is that really our first?
Did we? I don't think we've had a totally.
But it will not be the last. Regardless of whether he was the first, he will not be the last.
Not be the last. No, and we never see this man again after this episode, incidentally. So, disappearing townfolk, Amos Pike. We will see his house again, though. So we know that he's a little bit off his rocker, and he speaks to reflections in a mirror.
Yep. And then it fades away and it comes back and Laura's out in the woods and she's sitting there and she's roped off an area and then she's put out a box and a carrot, a stick, and a rock
to do a little the Bugs Bunny traps.
Well, and here's the thing. Wasn't it in season 1 she had pet bunnies?
Yes.
So is she trying to catch another one because the other one's got away? Like that seems kind of irresponsible.
Did they have rabbit stew? I mean, these are technically.
And technically, it's Nellie's box.
Yeah.
And it's Willie's carrot. So it's Nellie, Willie, and Jane.
Jane,
Mary's
who
not to be seen. And
not
Jane
yet,
is
but
also a disappearing townfolk. In fact, this is literally the only credit that character. I always worry when it's like a kid. It's like, what did they do on Little House that this was the only episode? And she had a speaking part. She
I always
actually
assume it's
spoke.
somebody's kid. It's like
Yeah,
a
a
behind the scenes
thrill.
person kid. But
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Jane, not this actress playing Jane, but I'm pretty sure Jane was actually at Nellie's birthday party in season 1. A character named Jane was there, but I think it was a totally different actress.
Okay, maybe. I
So
don't
I think they
recall
had
that name. I
rotating Janes.
remember Chrissy or Kathy or Cindy or whatever her name was.
Yeah,
So,
but it doesn't matter because we never
AKA
see Jane
Tall
again.
Girl. Yeah. So
Yeah, we
never
never
to be
see her
heard
again.
from
So,
again.
but
So, but
yeah, they're
Nellie,
taunting Laura.
yeah, so they're first of all, they are playing while she's trying to quietly catch a rabbit. Doesn't seem like
Plus,
a good mix of things. And then why would Nellie have a box way out there? And why would she be
why would
playing so
Willie have a
far from
carrot?
town? But whatever.
Whatever.
Um,
We're just gonna go with it. And for some reason, even though this house is haunted, they're playing just down the hill from it.
right, right.
But
So then Nellie says that when you touch the house of the
of a
when you
maniac.
touch the house of a maniac, they can't hurt you.
Yeah.
And Laura tells her that's ridiculous.
She
And
asks
then
what a maniac is because she doesn't
right,
know.
right. And then Nellie says that she and Willie have touched it a bunch of times, but now her mom says not to touch it anymore. And then she taunts
Laura
Laura
into
into
touching the
touching it.
house.
And so Laura decides that she's going to go up and touch it. And she goes all the way up to the porch. And I actually thought she touched it, but evidently she did not.
I,
And something
she touched
happens.
it.
Yeah,
She touched those stairs. So
yeah,
it doesn't matter
yeah.
because she's going to go back anyway. So,
But
but
she
yeah,
touches it, and then she runs back, and they call her a scaredy cat.
yeah.
And Willie points out that they've never been up in the house. They've never gone up on the
They've never
porch.
touched the house,
And
but
Nellie admits it. So this
Ellie's like,
really
well,
is the
he
first
doesn't
time
know it.
since season 1 when the Country Girls episode
Yeah,
and then the little essay thing. This is the first time in a while that we've really had an honest to goodness like interaction between Nellie and Laura.
yeah.
Like not
And this
just
is
Nellie
also
being part of the crowd.
Nellie starting to be the little little bitch that she is.
Yes, yeah,
Because she does. I mean, they just scream scaredy cat at her and they tease her and
yeah,
Laura goes home and asks Paul what a maniac is.
yes, yeah. And then um I I didn't mark that Mom and Pa shared a knowing look.
They
I
didn't
didn't
even
feel
look at
like
each
they
other.
do
I was
that.
like waiting for it. I
I
was waiting
didn't
for it, but
feel
there's
like
no,
there was an O Charles or an O Nels
there
either.
wasn't.
If I had gotten an O Charles, I would have had a bingo. And
Yeah.
anyway, and I was really hoping that Lily liked lemon verbena because that would have gotten me a bingo as well. But no
I
such luck.
had, yeah, we'll get to the bingo card because I had two almost. But yeah,
But yeah, so then she runs away. But then Laura decides that being teased by Nellie is a fate worse than death. So she sits there on the floor brushing her hair while Mary is studying a book without her glasses on.
yep.
And
The amazing
and
returning
she
vision.
decides that she's going to go to the house on Saturday because that's when Amos Pike goes into town. So that way she won't be bothering him because Pa said to leave her alone.
Yeah. And
And
she's
so
gonna
she
take
went
Jack
in.
because Pa didn't
Yeah,
tell Jack not to bother her.
yeah. So of course Jack and Laura get up on the porch and she finds so all of the windows are boarded over. So she finds a little piece of wood that's holding back one of the shutters and pulls that off the house because that's
Yeah.
helpful. And so even though all of the windows are boarded over, one of the windows is open and there's a cat evidently there that we don't see. Like after this little thing, we don't see
see
the
it ever
cat
again.
again. So that makes me wonder. But anyway, the cat, um, yowls at
Triggers,
at
yeah,
Jack.
it triggers
Jack
Jack.
jumps through the window, and she looks in and she says, "Jack's come back. Jack's come back." And then she just goes over to the door, opens it, and
He walks in.
saunters right in. And let me just be clear. Several times throughout this episode, she just walks
right in.
into buildings. She just doesn't knock. She doesn't
He
wait.
doesn't knock anything, just walks into buildings. Laura
She
Ingalls
just
is a
walks
menace
into
to
buildings.
society. I did count this as when animals attack, because Jack is turning out to be the worst farm dog. He just chases people's horses, chases people's cats.
Yep.
He just going into people's houses, but then his owner is the same way. She just walked into the house and then she just walks upstairs and she's just checking things out, playing with music boxes. Like,
yeah, again, like, so she shows that she's really frightened. And then she goes upstairs and she walks into this open door and all the suspenseful music. And then Jack and the cat come running out. So now she knows Jack is upstairs. But rather than going back downstairs to get him, she looks around the room and starts winding up this little music box that we got to see earlier in the episode. And then she decides to go downstairs.
yeah.
And then she tells
She realizes
Jack,
that,
that we have to go. And of course, that's about the time. And they do that whole cut camera where it's like you see Amos getting closer and you see her standing there. And then so what does she do? She doesn't try to like go out the door. She doesn't try to go out the window. She hides behind this velvet curtain that doesn't do anything. Like if you were walking in the front door, you would very clearly see it. And you could actually see Laura giggling. So I feel like something must have happened on set that she couldn't keep a straight face.
Yeah.
Because she was like, I'm scrunched up against this corner, but this is ridiculous. And Jack is with her, but she's not holding on to it. And so then Jack, of course, jumps when he shuts the door and crashes the vase because she hits it with her shoe. Yeah, so she's now breaking things in the house. And that's when Jack runs away. And then, so Jack evidently runs out of the house because, again, never to be seen from the rest of the episode.
Yeah, he did his part. He chased a cat.
And he looms over her.
Breaking and entering.
And she says, I'm sorry, Jack broke your vase.
Yeah, it's not my fault at all. No, I'm just in your house. It's not my fault.
And then she's like, who are you? And she's like, Bond, James Bond.
Ingalls, Laura Ingalls from over the hill.
From over the hill. And he's like, get out of my house. And he shoves her out the front door. And she tells him, she gets down in the yard, turns around, and tells him he's a mean old man. Let's be clear. She walked into his house. She pulled a stick off his house. She walks into his house, goes upstairs and downstairs, and breaks his vase. And then
her dog is chasing what I assume to be his cat.
Right. So why is he a mean old man?
Why is he a mean old man? You're kind of he's right later on when he calls her a snippety snip.
Yeah, I love his little phrases for her. I think they're great.
Incidentally, she's touched the house, so she can go back to Nellie and say, I touched the house. He yelled at me.
Yeah, but she felt like she needed the piece of wood to prove it since Nellie wasn't there to see it. But Nellie saw her get on the porch.
Yeah,
Nellie, it doesn't justify the means. So yeah.
No.
But clearly she tells her father what she's done. Because then they're talking about it at another meal. And then she comes down, she does wear her nightcap, so you get to check that off. And she says she wants to apologize. She says she wants to apologize. And her dad says you should leave him alone. And she says, I promise. All I'm going to do is apologize, and then I'll leave right away and leave him alone.
Yes.
Spoiler alert! She doesn't.
She doesn't.
And again, she walks into his house.
Yes,
She
just
doesn't
walks
knock
in.
on his door and say, "Can I please come in?" She doesn't stand on the porch or in the front yard and say, "Mr. Pike." She just walks in
Hello, I'm here.
and
It's
sees him
Laura Ingalls
talking
from
to
over the hill.
her, and he's talking to Miss Lily
He's having an
again.
episode.
Yeah. So, and then she tells him that the house is a mess and if she really wants Miss Lily to come back. So she totally eavesdropped and heard all the crazy he
Yeah,
was saying. And rather than being scared, like, who are you talking
this
to?
man's
He's
talking to a
like, if you
mirror.
really want her to come back, you should clean up your messy house. Why, you even have to clean up the broom before you can clean with the broom. So I'll clean with the broom and you get the rug started. And he does it.
And she just takes over. It's like, we're gonna clean your house, and she's there for so long that Pa actually shows up on a wagon. I mean,
Yeah.
eventually the Ingalls are like, maybe he killed her. We should probably go check. You know,
I'm
he
like,
is maniac.
what is this thing with your daughter's obsession with older men?
Older men.
Well, it definitely comes in handy later with who she
Yeah,
marries.
yeah. But
But anyway, but it's like she
here,
did that with Mr. French in the beginning. She did it with
yes,
the Indian chief.
yep.
She
She did it with
she did
Ebenezer
it with the
Scragg.
banker. She did it with
Here,
she's just
and
constantly doing
of
that.
course
Anyway.
he's all grouchy with Charles. Your little daughter just, snippety snap, take her away. And she's like, oh, he likes me.
That's just his way. Skippity scop. Yeah. So, and then then she just starts
She
showing
just
up every
starts,
day.
yeah, showing up every day to clean
Yeah,
and
like
talk, and he
clearly
tells her
Pa
all
doesn't
about
say, "Don't
Miss
go over
Lily.
there again. You promised me." Now, to Pa's credit, he saw her helping him clean the windows.
Yeah, so he knows that she's
Where is
helping him
she?
clean.
Let's remember, she's the one that fishes to bring home food.
Yes,
She's got chores to do.
she's got her
She's
own
got
chores and
homework
her
to
own
do.
cleaning at her own house to do.
Yeah.
Apparently, Mary is just taking that over or something while she helps out the maniac in the haunted house.
Yeah.
But he
And
tells her
so
all about Miss Lily, who was an actress, and
in a
will come back
repertory
because,
theater.
yeah,
Yeah.
she's going to come back because she just got tired of living in the country and she'll come back when she's tired of city life. And yeah, we all know she's not going to. He's
Yeah.
also very clear that she is not to clean the yard. And
Yes.
there's a very specific reason for that.
Right.
But she helps him clean, and then she's like, well, I've got to go to Mankato. My dad's going to Mankato. My pa's going to Mankato, and I'm going with him. What
And
about
what is
school?
what does your teacher say about this? Well, it's good to know geography. It's like, no, Ma's
She
probably
just wants you
sending.
out of the school.
Yeah, she just wants you away from the guy for a while and make sure that Pa doesn't get into any fancy ideas while he's up at Mankato.
Yeah,
Make sure
yeah.
he doesn't have a little floozy on the side up there, because that happened to
Little
Jimmy
actress himself.
Johns with
Oh,
her.
Miss Lily.
Maybe he's afraid. Maybe she's afraid that little Miss Bird Hat woman is gonna remember Pa, since she didn't actually leave from
From
Johnny Johnson
yeah.
from previous episodes. Anyway, so they go up there and she's sitting on a bale of hay while Dad is unloading the lumber, because Lord forbid she help like she did in the first season when he broke his
When he
ribs
broke
from
his
climbing the tree.
ribs.
Anyway, so she asks if she can go a walk, and he's like, well, just don't get lost.
Get lost in the city you've never really been to, all by your
Surprise.
lonesome.
Guess how you get lost? You don't know you're getting lost till you're lost. So
Yeah.
I almost wanted to mark lost, hostage, captive.
I thought about it. I
said
also
no.
thought about kidnapping, because I'm like, is he going to let her go?
Yeah, but this is not that episode.
No,
that episode is later.
There will be actual kidnapping later on.
Yeah. So anyway, so she sees that it says so clearly. Oh, okay, by the way, all this education that Miss Beadle is saying, clearly words and meanings. She doesn't know what maniac means. She doesn't know what repertory is. And clearly she doesn't understand what closed means.
Yeah.
Because she tries to open both doors.
Theater.
And then she wanders around till she finds a way in, even though it clearly says closed, and wanders and starts talking to another old man.
Yeah.
And
Who's
this
very
old man
helpful.
is Jamie Dent, or Jamie Dent, who runs the repertory theater or runs the theater house. And she asks if he knows about Miss Lily.
Oh, everyone knew Miss Lily. I'm
And that's
surprised this guy didn't have an Irish accent. I anticipated him to be some sort of ethnicity,
so the
but
problem with
no.
that is this actor was born in Germany and is 100% Greek. So
Oh,
probably not his thing. But anyway, he basically tells her that Lily died of cholera.
20 years ago.
Yeah.
And she doesn't
And
believe him. That can't be true. That can't be right.
and then
But
the
no,
whole way
he's
home, which remember, let's talk about this.
7 days.
Mankato is how far of a trip? It takes
Seven
a week.
days. It's a
It's
week
3 days one way, a day overnight, 3 days back.
back.
So for 3 days, she tells her dad, I
All
gotta tell
about
him. I gotta tell him.
gotta tell
I
him.
gotta tell him. And he's like,
He's gonna
well,
be so broken up because
and
apparently
it's
she
for her father says, would you like me to go with you? Like,
at this point, Charles should have sat her down and said, Laura, he knows she's dead.
yeah,
He just can't grasp it.
right,
But he doesn't tell her that.
right.
So
And
she goes there. Go ahead.
here's the thing. It's like 3 days on the way home. She's talking about, I forgot what I was gonna say, but
But
I was just like,
he's
y-
got to know that Charles is not unintelligent in this television show. And let's
yeah,
face it, Pa solves everything. He has to. I don't know why he didn't sit his daughter down and say, look, he can't get over the fact that his wife is dead.
yeah,
You telling him that she is dead is going to hurt him.
yeah. And the thing is that throughout this episode, we don't see it. It's always done off camera because of the cuts that they do with the times. But we keep finding out that Laura's going home and talking about this guy.
Yes.
So how is she not telling them that he talked to the mirror as
Yes.
if it was Miss Lily? Because she knows all about Miss Lily.
Knows all. Yeah.
Certainly they would have said, well, what made him talk about her?
Well,
And
he was playing a music box and talking to her in the mirror. And at that point, when she say, maybe you stay home. Maybe you stay
yeah,
home.
or he's
Or maybe
talking
I go
to
with
her
you.
while looking at himself in the mirror because she wouldn't
Yeah.
have seen the image, right? But anyway.
It
So
did,
anyway, so all of that happens, right?
we
And
need a
so then she
square. The
goes into
Ingalls
the
are bad
house.
parents.
Now, the last couple times that she goes in, I will say the front door was already open.
Yeah,
So
but
like he
still,
was
you don't
airing
just walk
out. Yeah.
in.
Yeah, but she just walks in and does stuff. And he is dancing up and down the stairs saying, "Look at what a good job I did."
Yeah, it's so pretty. It's
And
so nice.
and he's like, "I went to Mankato, we know this, and
Yes.
and I found somebody at the repertoire who knew Miss Lily." And he goes, I don't want to talk about it. I got to clean
Yeah.
upstairs. And she follows him up and she's like, I got to tell you. And he's
I
like, don't
gotta
tell
tell
me.
you, your
I
wife
got
is
to tell
dead.
you. And then he goes around and turns on every single music box in that room, which there must have been 8 of them.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't even realize that some of them were music boxes at first until he just kept opening boxes and turning them on. So you had this discordant, like,
Yeah.
but I was like, are they all playing the same song? I don't think that's like, but obviously it was just so it wouldn't be too
It
raucous,
was
right?
this is his brain now. His brain is now all flustered because he's trying to come to grips with the death of his wife.
And then he tells her to get out and
Yeah.
she goes running out the front door. And then we flip to Mary. We flip to Pa with happy music.
Yes.
And Pa's coming home, and we find out it's been 2 weeks. And Mary and Carrie are in there.
Harry's
Mary
drawing,
is
and
doing her
Mary, I guess,
homework
is
without her
doing homework.
glasses on. And Carrie's in there drawing a picture of Jack. And she speaks and says that it's a picture of Jack.
Jack.
So you'd get
That's
Carrie
it.
speaks for that.
One
And
word.
Pa is covered with dirt, but he washes his hands. And we find out that Laura's been up in the barn working on her Sunday school lesson since Wednesday. And
And
it's
he says,
Wednesday.
that doesn't sound like your sister.
Yeah. And what was hilarious to me is, we get into this preachy moment, and you and I have our
Yeah.
feelings
It's
about that.
very,
But she reads from the Bible, and she reads a passage from the Bible that's more about, like, let's remember, this is the daughter that thought she had to get closer to God, so she climbed up a mountain where she
yeah,
met the angel Jonathan.
yeah,
Let's just talk about that. So she's holding her Bible, and it's clear that she's at the front of the Bible,
yes.
and she reads about, and Jesus said. So for those of you who play
She's
along at
not
home,
in the New
Jesus is
Testament.
in the New Testament. She was clearly in the Old Testament. Now, later, somebody must have figured out that, because then she's more like a third of the way in,
Yeah.
but still not deep enough to have gotten to the New
No.
Testament.
At the
So I was
most,
just
she's in
like, that
Psalms.
was
Even when
really
he's reading
interesting.
it later on, it's like the middle. I'm like, you're in Psalms or Proverbs there, honey.
Yeah, you're not far
You're
enough
not in the
over.
New
Sorry.
Testament.
Yeah, you probably are in Hezekiah,
Yeah.
Malachi, Zechariah,
Maybe you're in Amos. I mean, it is your name.
Yeah, so anyway, so I think this is the interesting thing though, is she walks and she stands by the house, and Nellie and Willie are like, "Do you want to play follow the leader?" And evidently Willie is a terrible leader because he's trying. But anyway, um
Again,
she's
why are
just
they
sitting
playing near the
staring
haunted
at the
house?
house. Yeah. And so she decides on her way to school one day. Mary's like, we're going to be late. Mary is carrying that really big dictionary, by the way, that
Yeah.
she ended up winning or not winning or whatever.
Yeah.
And Laura looks and sees a hollowed out log, and she puts the Bible in there. So what was your first thought when you saw the hollowed out log?
That
Hollowed
Mary's
out
glass.
log.
That isn't that where Mary put her glasses?
I was like, okay, so evidently this is a Midwestern post office. You just leave random
So it's
things
just like people
in
put.
this
I
hollowed
don't
out
even
log.
think that's the last time we will see that. I don't think it's the last time that messages will be put in that log. Because
No.
I'm almost
And
positive
and he
we're
sees
coming.
her from the
Yeah.
window putting that in there, and he goes over, and evidently he figures out the exact passage because it's the only one she underlines in the whole
Marked?
Bible.
Marked several times. So what did she circle it and underline it and highlight
And
it?
I'm like, okay, but again, like, this is the girl who crawled up the mountain because she thought she had to be closer to God to make the bargain to switch her life or whatever,
For her
right?
brothers.
So if that's the case, he who believeth, though he be dead, yet shall he live. And she know that Miss Lily is dead, and he's batshit crazy. Why wouldn't he read that and think, if I just believed harder, Lily would be alive?
Yeah. Maybe I need to get closer to God.
But no, he reads it over and over and over again, and then with tears in his eyes, he goes out to the yard, and he
And
finally starts cutting away the brush, and
because
we
her grave
find
is out there.
her grave, which evidently Laura, in all of their follow the leader playing, never stumbled across.
Yeah, I was like, nobody stumbled across it. I mean, they're playing near this house constantly, apparently.
Yeah, it's like the latest place to play.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I did think it was kind of cool that the way that she knew that she was forgiven was that he put that music box
Yeah,
in there. I
he put
felt like that was clever.
that was
Um,
nice.
and then she goes up into the house and again walks in without knocking
Walks right in.
and tells him that she can't keep the music box.
It's too pretty.
Well, she was going to go turn it off, but it stayed on for a while. And I'm like, but last time he was playing on the music box, he was woo-hoo. So maybe that's not what to do. But anyway,
And
so
then he
are,
cries and she hugs him and he's found God.
yes,
And that's
the end.
basically the end. We don't even like get a voiceover. Amos Pike passed away peacefully in his sleep 2 years later, whatever. It's
Yeah,
just it's done.
yeah.
She
So,
made him realize his wife was dead, and that was her mission for this episode. It is complete.
yes. So let's quickly talk about the guests because I know we're running
Yes.
out of time. So
Yeah.
Amos Pike was played by John Anderson over 245 episodes that he was in. including a pivotal Star Trek Next Generation,
Yep.
mourning the loss of his wife. So that's a reoccurring theme.
She's good at
So he
mourning
was in
women.
12 episodes of Gunsmoke, 3 episodes of Bonanza. He's also known for playing presidents. He played Abraham Lincoln in 3 different episodes and movies.
I
He
can see
played
that.
Andrew Jackson and he played FDR. So the man just
I
played a
can see
lot of
Andrew Jackson. I can't really see FDR, but
that. Well, he did. So Jamie Dent, who was the theater owner, was played by Stefan Zacharias. We already talked. He was in 59 episodes. I would say that one worthy one was that he was in the movie Ice Pirates. And then Lisa Lyon, who played Lily Baldwin. This is interesting, so I'm going to quickly talk about this. She only had 7 credits, and Little House on the Prairie was her absolute first one. Obviously, she didn't have any lines. She just
no,
stood
she's
and
just
she
spinning
played a
around in a
circle.
mirror.
But she actually was only 5'4", and she was a female body wrestler. In fact, she was so well known for being a body wrestler. She only passed away 2 years ago, 2023. She actually was a subject of a short film as well as a whole book called Lady, which is all photographs of her as a female bodybuilder. And in
Oh,
fact,
wow.
Frank Miller, the comic book creator, used her image for his original concept of the character Elektra that played opposite Daredevil.
Sweet.
Yeah, so even though, but she was also in a couple pornos at the end.
Here.
But yeah, but most of her acting was all related to the fact that she was a dancer and a bodybuilder, and she was very beautiful. And of course, Jane talked the whole time, but only had that one Little House in the Prairie
Right.
credit. And this
And
was directed by Victor French, aka
I do want
Mr.
to
Edwards.
mention the house. So Pike's house will return because that is the house that becomes the blind school later on. Spoilers.
Yeah,
But in that episode, it says that Hansen willed the house to become so it was Hansen's property. So again, I'm like, is Lars Hansen disappearing all these townsfolk and stealing their land?
he's the Jessica Fletcher of Walnut Grove. So I
Like,
did not. I had bingo card number 7. I did not get a bingo. And you said, which card did you have?
I had card number 15 and I had like almost bingo. All I needed was Willie to go to the damn outhouse, but I'm like, but no. And I needed Nellie to cry. So when they were fighting, I'm like, just punch her, Laura. This
Yeah,
show is making me advocate child on child violence, but I'm
I
like, just
had.
punch her so she
I could have
cries.
won in 3 different ways if we had had O. Charles, Willie stood in the corner, or Lemon Verbena. I would have been good.
Yeah.
But
I just needed a
hey, I
child
am
to go to the
actually
outhouse.
updating the bingo card. If you think we should add a search term, email us at twowokebonnets@gmail.com. It is
Yes.
TWO woke bonnets
Yes,
all together.
TWO. We spell it out.
And so we will be having new bingo cards for next episode. But
We
thank
definitely
you
will need to
guys.
update them for season 3 because there's a couple that will no longer be valid.
Applicable. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, we will be updating the bingo cards. Be sure to download your bingo card at twowokebonnets.com,
Yay. And
twobonnets.com. And
yes.
yeah, that's this episode. It's a really kind of a nothing burger episode. You never see this man again. He's never
Oh,
mentioned
and then
again.
Laura scares the crap out of Nellie and Willie at
Oh
the
yeah,
end.
because he wants to see you, Nellie. He wants to see you too, Willie.
And it was so out of character of the whole rest of the episode, it was kind of just a
It was kind
throwaway.
of weird, and he's like playing along with it, and I'm like,
Yeah.
okay. And then she's like, "See you Sunday," because apparently he's found God and he's going to be at church, although we never see him at church, so
Or again.
or ever again.
None of our special guests ever appear again.
I hope they moved the bodies before the blind school moved in. I'm just, because there is a grave right there in the front yard.
Tripping hazard. Tripping hazard. Oh,
Tripping
and the
hazard.
hollow log would be helpful too. So,
That's
all
just going to move around town because it's the kids' post office apparently.
right. All
So
right.
next up for us is the spring dance.
Yeah.
So we get romance again. We're going to get that goofy little romance tune that they play during Little House. But that was Haunted House. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Did get a little preachy at the end, but this is a family-friendly show. You're going to get preachy. It gets
But
much
we'll see you
preachier.
next time.
But we'll see you next time.
Bye, John Boy. Bye, Mary Ellen. Oh, wait, wrong show. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Two Woke Bonnets. To find out more and to download your bingo card, visit twowokebonnets.com. And don't forget to like and subscribe wherever fine video and audio podcasts are played.